All right, we move to hatching. Hatch has three different options. You can see we have hatch, we have gradient, we have boundaries. Now we select the first one. A different windows of hatch options opens up for you. So here you can see different hatch patterns. And moreover, a hatching is designed to work within the boundary. So let's say, for example, I select this. Now to browse for more options, if you click on this arrow here pointing down, it's going to open up all of these options. So there are different types of it. Let's say, for example, I pick something like this, all right, and it must work within a closed loop, of course. It's a pick internal point or select object. So I'm just going to pick internal point here. That's within a closed loop. Having done that, you click on enter. That's it. Now you could see that the scale is so tiny that it's now looking shaded. So what you just have to do is to select it. Once you select it, the properties open up again. So here you can set up the scale. This is the scale and it's just 1. If I click inside and type in 1000 millimeters and just click outside, or maybe 1000 is too big, let's make it 200. So that's how you just explore that and see which is better for you. Here we have this color. You can go straight from here and change or alter the color if you want. For example, if I select blue, it changes to blue. But if you want to do a serious modification on that, you can click on the option right here. Then there's an arrow pointing down here. Click on that to do more settings. So right here now, if you come to the pattern here, you can also click here and change the pattern to something else. Or let's just say change it to this. Click on OK. You've changed that pattern. Then as for the color, you can also do the change in here from this place. Or you select more colors by clicking on this place and do some more selection. So let me just say OK and then come here to just do the same thing which I should have done there, or maybe I just change it to something that looks like this. Click on OK. For angle, is going to be 0 for 90 degrees, and then you can also change it. The scale is 200. We've already done the setting over there. Then type predefined, so you can do some more customization, and here I'm just going to say OK. So that becomes a new form of hatching. So for these hatch patterns now, you can see that it requires a larger scale than the previous. Now we only have 200 here. So here now, if we change it to say 2000, some hatch patterns requires a higher scale factor than others. So if I click outside, you see it's increasing. So 2000 is not even big enough for it. Let's make it 4000 and click outside, and maybe 6000, click outside. So you have it there. Hit escape. So that's it for hatching. And then if I also select it, here we have the background color as none. If you want to change the background color, you can choose any line here and you have a background color to it, but we really don't have a need for that. So I'm just going to leave it as none. Let me also hatch something different here. I hatch, and then I pick this gravel, click within the area. Then this 6000 is too much. I just say 2000 millimeters. And click outside. Look at, there's a prompt here that says a closed boundary could not be determined. So you can say close and click. Then if you click again, you enter the same command again. You can go ahead and hatch somewhere here and click enter. Once you click again, it enters the same command. Then I'm going to also pick hatch pattern for gradients. We can decide to apply it, click inside, that you hit enter. That's how hatching works. Now let's look at how to use some of the modify tools. If you go to the menu bar and click on modify, you're going to see different types of modify tools. However, for easy access to these tools, we have them here on this ribbon, of which you can move out, and what you can find right inside this modify, you can also find them here. Now I'm just going to click on the arrow at the top right corner just to return it back to its original position. If we have our auto on and then you select this object right now and I want to move it from point 1 to point 2, and I'm going to select move and then pick from any point. If you have a specific point, you can pick from that specific point. If you just want to move it at random, you can pick from any point and move it from there to there, all right? But let's just say we have a line like this, and then I have this line going this way, and I want to move it from this point and place the base point at this angle here. I can also use a different pattern by selecting move first. Then the next thing is to select object, and I come here and select the object, hit enter, then come here and pick it from this base point and move it to this point. All depends on which route you want to take, all right? But then again, if you turn off auto and you want to move it to any direction at all, you can just select it either from top down, or you select it from down top. The difference between selecting from top down and from down top is one trick I needed to understand. When you select from down to top, there is no way you can avoid this white line. It has to be selected as well. But when you need to avoid this white line and just select the building plan, you go from top to down. You see, you've avoided this white line, and then you pick move and just move it from any point to any direction at all, because the auto is off now, so it can go any direction and at any length. So let's just keep it here. So that's it for moves. Copy, almost similar to move. When you make a copy, the source file remains the same while you copy the object and paste in another place. So example, I select this object and pick copy. So you can copy it either from a base point, any point, or at random we can just copy. Or if you turn the auto on, you can go horizontal and vertical depending on how you want to copy it. So let me just drop it here at the vertical axis, and then maybe drop another here on the horizontal side. Similarly, another way to use the copy command is also to pick the copy first. Here you see select object, then you select the object and then hit enter on your keyboard. Your cursor is activated to copy the object, pick from any point, and then you copy it to another point. I'll just hit escape. However, this is not the type of copy you use to copy a file from one workspace to another. That copy actually is located right here. That is copy to clipboard, and then you paste to another workspace. For example, if I select this and I need to move this from this workspace to another workspace, all I just have to do is to go here and drop this down. You see copy there, you see cut, then you see paste. But right here we are copying and we are moving to another workspace. So I copy this, now it's copied. Switch from this tutorial workspace to the initial workspace that we opened then. Now we are here, so we just have to paste it here by going back to this place and then clicking on this. You see different options of pasting it. You can just paste it, you can paste it as block, you can paste as hyperlink, and so forth. So I'm just going to select the first one and drop it here. Here it is, all right? So that's it. Then you can also use Ctrl V to paste it and Ctrl C to copy. So I go back to our file here. Then another modifying tools that is commonly used when making a drawing is the rotate, all right? For instance, I want to rotate this building plan and keep it horizontal right now. All you just do is select it from down to top and then pick rotate, and at any point you can place it at the middle, you can place it anywhere depending, and you just click, then turn your hand towards the right direction and it will rotate towards the right. If you turn your hand towards the left direction, it will also rotate towards the left. And as long as your auto is on, it's going to be horizontal when it rotates. But if you turn off the auto, it's not going to be either vertical or horizontal anymore. It will just be at an angle. So all you just have to do is to make sure your auto is on, and you can copy towards the left and click. The second click will establish the rotation. All right, so that's how it works. Then the next tool that is commonly used is this. If you drop this down, you're going to see trim and extend. All right, one is a second function of the other. Now, how to apply the trim and extend? Either two ways. One is to select either the trim or extend, whichever one. But since one is the second function of the other, we can pick this and use the same command for both. For example, after I've selected trim right now, if I place the cursor here, you see it's going to trim off this part and leave the rest from the boundary there. So I'm just going to trim off there. If I do that again, I'm going to trim off here. Then if you hold down your shift key on your computer, the extend is activated, so you can click and extend the line. All right, if you take off your hand, it's now trim, and then you can trim that off. That's the first method of doing that. I'm just going to hit escape. Then the next way you can use it is, first of all, to determine or ascertain a boundary for it. For example, if I select this now and I want to extend this line from this point to that point, all I just have to do is to pick extend, and once I place it here, it's going to use there as the boundary condition. So I click and that's it. So I'm going to hit escape once again. But then again, if I select trim and I decide to trim off this, since there's a line crossing this white line, it's going to be trimming it from different intervals. But if I use the second method, it's going to trim everything alongside, and the boundary which I have created, that's where it will stop. For example, if I pick trim right now and I come here and want to trim this, you can see it's trimming them from the interval. All right, so I'm going to undo that, and then I pick the second method and use this now as the boundary condition. Then I go and select trim. Once I place it here, it's going to cut that from this point to the last point there. The same thing applicable to the extend command. Now I'm just going to hit the escape key to get out of the command. Then the next is erase. Erase is simple. Just select the item you want to erase and click there, it erases it. Then I'm going to return them back by using my Ctrl Z. Then the next command is mirror. For you to use the mirror, the same principle applies. Let's say I want to mirror this. All I just have to do is to select the object, then pick mirror, place it at any point, depending on how you want it to appear. If you want it to appear close to each other, like be in line with each other after mirroring, you just place it there and take your hand across to this other side. You can see you've mirrored that. But if you want a distance between them, I'm just going to hit escape, just select it, and then MI for mirror. You click on enter. All right, it enters the command. So you can place this here and just take your hand towards the right, depending on how you want to mirror it. At the second click, you hit enter to get out of the command. So you have that. So that's how mirror is used. Then the next command there is fillet. Now I'm just going to talk about fillet and chamfer. So to fillet an object, for example, we have a polyline like this. So how to use the fillet command is just to click on either the fillet or the chamfer. So for now, let's take the fillet. Then the first thing they say, select first object. So I'm just going to select this as the first object. And then here they said second object or shift select to apply corner. Now let's leave this first and pick second object. To pick the second object, you have to specify the radius. Now the radius, I'm just going to type either R, enter, or you just click on radius there. So I'm just going to type in 1500 as the radius of the fillet. Hit enter before you select the second point. So once you select the second object, you see the fillet occurs there with the radius of 1500. You want to confirm that if you go to your dimension and pick radius here, once you click on that this thing there, you're going to see that radius is 1500 millimeters. So that's it for the fillet. Now the same thing is applicable if it's for chamfer. I'm just going to draw another line just like this. Now we are going to apply a chamfer around here. So I'm just going to pick this and I select chamfer. Now specify first line. I'm also going to specify this first line. Then again, the second line, either as a distance or as an angle. So I'm just going to pick distance, and let's say the distance is going to be 600. So I type in 600 and hit enter. Then second point 600 and I hit enter. Then I click on the second point. So we're going to have that chamfer of 600 from the origin to where it started, and from the origin to this other point where it's ending on this other side. But there is something you will notice when it comes to lines. All right, if you select this, it's going to be a block line just because it's polyline. But when it now has to do with using fillet and chamfer, for example, if I want to use fillet, when they say specify the first line, once you specify it, it's not going to be as block anymore. It's just going to be a singular line. So that's it for the fillet and the chamfer. Up next is explode. So here is the explode command. All right, so to explode an object, realize that the hatch patterns is a block. All right, if you want to explode this now, all I just have to do is to select it, then go to home and click on explode command. Once you click on that, you will notice when you select it, is now as single lines instead of as a block. All right, then up next is scale command, and how to use the scale command is just to select the object. Once you select the item, you go to scale, click on scale, specify base point. You can specify a base point, specify scale factor. You can type in whatever factor you want to specify, or you can use your hand to just expand the scale. With no specific factor, you can scale it just the way you want it. But with specific factor, all you just have to do is enter the value, maybe 1.5. When you hit enter, you can see that it's now scaled bigger than the rest of it. You can first of all select the scale command. Here they say select object, then you select the object. Once you select the object, you hit enter, specify base point. You can pick this point as a base point because when you scale it, instead of moving towards this direction to collide with this other one, it's going to move towards this direction. But if I place this here, it means it's going to move towards this direction and it's going to collide with the next drawing up there. So to demonstrate what I mean, I'm going to place this here and just type in 2 as the scale factor, and I hit enter. So you can see that instead of move towards this way, it moved towards this way. Now I'm going to undo this to demonstrate that again. So I pick scale, select object, I select this. Then I hit enter. Hitting enter, I'm just going to select a base point, which is here. By selecting that, I'm going to put in the value, let's say 2, from scaling. Where you pick your base point matters when it comes to scaling. So I'm just going to undo this. Another super tool I want to show you is the array command. Now, here on this array, you will also notice that it has 3 different options. We have the rectangular array, we have the path array, we have the polar array, but I'm just going to focus on the rectangular array for now because of time. Then how to use the command, you have to click on the array. Here the prompt says select object, so we are going to select this object. Once you hit enter, it's going to appear as this. Now it appears as this because by default we have it as this, but you can alter this to your preferred or desired number. Now if you watch here, we are going to first of all pick a base point. So I'm just going to pick this point as the base point, and then the next thing I'm going to select count here. Once you select count, is going to say enter the number of columns. We have it as 4 here. Let's just do 6 and then hit enter. Then enter the number of rows or expression. So let's just enter the number of rows as 6 as well. Enter. Once you do that, you notice the array is now complete. 6 on the vertical, 6 on the horizontal. Then you hit enter to get out of the command. So I can select this and move it by going back to home. Then I move it backward. Then if you select this, you will notice this window of its properties opens up. Now this window describes everything about this array here, and I'm just going to close array and opt out of this. Then the next thing I want to talk about is the offset command, which is the most used commands when doing an architectural or engineering drawing. Now how to use that is to first of all type O, enter, which is for offset, or if you don't want to go through the shortcut, you can just click on the button there and it activates. Look at what it says here, specify offset distance. So if I want to specify, for example, 3000 millimeters and then hit enter, it's saying here select object to offset. So I'm just going to select this object and offset it to whichever direction you want. Then you can also pick another thing and just keep on selecting. As far as it's still on the command, you can just keep selecting and offsetting. All right, so I'm going to escape to get out of the command. Now we move to the block panel here. To insert a block into, maybe as I have this project, then I want to insert blocks into them, different types of blocks. It could be flowers, it could be furnitures, it could be cars, maybe at the landscape and any other thing. All of those things, you have to create it. If you check here, you see create blocks. Clicking on this place, we open up the properties in which you can use to create a block. You can also edit blocks, but in this case, we are not going to create any. But right here, I'm going to show you how you can leverage on the predefined blocks, which comes with AutoCAD during installation. So here, I'm just going to click on insert here, assuming we want to insert a block here. Go to recent blocks. If you check, this place is empty because none has been loaded to it. Now I'm just going to close here out and show you how you can bring that up and load it here, so you can easily pick it and insert it on your project. To do that, go to start page. You're going to click on open as if you want to open an existing file. I'm going to click on explore sample drawings. Now here you see samples. Then go to n/us here. Once you double click on this folder, it opens up. You have design center and dynamic blocks. Choose design center. So you double click on it. We have different kind of predefined elements here. And I'm just going to open up the home space planner. You see the bed, you see dining and the rest of it. Let's say we just open this and they say, would you like to open the file read only? I say yes, because it has to open as read only. So I'm just going to select this and go copy to clipboard, then move to our tutorial file and just use Ctrl V to paste it. Of course, here, remember I taught you about insertion scale. You're going to see that is too small here, but there is no need to scale it, because if you want to insert any of them at any point, all you just have to do is go to insert. It's already loaded in there. You can see each and every one of them, and their names will equally appear. Here you see bed queen, You see chair, you see copy machine and the rest of it. Here you see dining. So let's just say I want to insert bed there. Pick the bed, all right, and probably place it somewhere here. This is the bedroom. So I place it there. That's how to insert it. And you can see that the scale is even matching with the scale in which the design was made. Now at this point, even if you delete this, it doesn't matter anymore. It is still loaded in there. Then the next I want to talk about is match properties. For example, this line here, if I turn off from this point, my line weight, you're going to see it as a normal line, all right? So the line weight actually proves to me that they are of different layers. So this now, if I select this, you're going to see it as wall. But if I select this white line, you're going to see it as beam. Then if I drop down these layer properties, you're going to see them all, that they are different lines and of different line weights. Now say I want to match this line to this. All I just have to do is to select the match property. If you read it, select source object. I will select the source object here. Then the next is the destination object, and I will transfer that to this one. So I have matched this to this. So I'm just going to click Ctrl Z to undo that. Then up next is the bilayer. Here what it does is that if I want to draw a line right now, the line I have here on the layer property is wall. I can change this line to be any other layer. Okay, let me select this section line. Then this section line, if I pick a line and draw it like that, you see what we have there, and you see the line thickness. But if I come to bilayer, all I just have to do is to come here to this line type, and I can change it to maybe, let's say this hidden line, dash dot 2. Once you select that, if you pick the line, even if it's under this section line here, it's going to appear as dash dot 2 line, which is a broken line, all right? Whatever you do, if you change any other kind of line here, there are several others which you can also explore here. And then here you can also load in more lines in case what you're looking for is not there. There are different lines, even this fence line circle that has this kind of zero and stuff like that. Once you say OK, click on OK once again, come here and select that line, look at it here, and place it here. Once you pick a line and draw it, that's what you're going to get. Click on enter. So I'm just going to turn it back to the original. It was in by block, all right? I'm just going to select line, so it has gone back to its original state, all right? So this is what this panel is all about, and each and every one of them also, you can come to line weight here and adjust the line weight. Whichever line weight you assign to it, it automatically changes. But meanwhile, all of these line weights are already set up here in the layer properties as well, which we have here. Each and every one of the lines and their layers have a line weight assigned to it. This is what the organization of your object means. So that's it. Then the next is utilities. Under utilities is where you have the calculators, you have the ID points. Calculator here, for example, once you click on it, you can multiply anything you want to multiply. Turn this on, it changes to scientific. So you can do a lot with the calculator command here as well. So I'm just going to cancel this. Finally, what I want to talk about is the view cube, which you have here. And then on this other side too, we have the navigation wheel, which is suitable for 3D designs. And then we have palm, all right, which you can use to palm this. All these other ones like the orbit, which is relevant for 3D drawing. And because 2D drafting is presumed to be viewing the item from the top down. So you have this view cube from the top here down, and sometimes you might just make a mistake and tap something and you don't know how. So it's going to rearrange and have a different kind of orientation and you'll be confused. So if you look at your view cube, you're going to be seeing it from the front, all right? And then if you go here, you're also going to see it from the other side, from the left. And it can be confusing sometimes if you're not conversant with AutoCAD user's interface. Now, whenever it happens to you, all you need to do is just go and target the top. Once you click on that top arrow, it will return to you, but the orientation might not be exactly how it was. So, but we have it as top here. All you just have to do as well is click on this other arrow on this side. It's going to rotate. Now, if you rotate it to the front, you just click on the top arrow once more, and it will properly position back the way it was and the way you have set it. Now, with this, we've come to the end of this course. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.